They found him sitting alone at the kitchen table, knife and fork still in hand, a half-peeled orange on his plate. No signs of pain, no cry for help, just a man in his 70s whose heart had quietly surrendered. And sadly, he's not the only one. Every year, thousands of older men suffer silent declines in circulation, and with it, a quiet loss of energy, intimacy, and connection. Their wives notice, their confidence fades, and most never understand why. They blame aging, or stress, or bad luck. But what if the real problem was something much smaller, something they never imagined? You see, many older men believe intimacy fades simply because they're getting older, or that poor circulation is just part of the deal. But here's the truth. No one's told them. It often starts in the kitchen. Yes, what you eat can either choke your blood flow or unlock it. And when the body loses circulation, it doesn't just affect your heart or legs, it affects the very core of what makes you feel alive, connected, and masculine. I'm Dr. James, a board-certified urologist and men's health expert. For over 30 years, I've worked with men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s. Men who felt their best years were behind them. Men who were tired of pills that didn't work and silence that hurt more than words ever could. I've sat with them, listened to their fears, and guided them back to a life of strength, confidence, and closeness, starting with something as simple as what's on their plate. Because here's what most don't realize. Every bite you take is either fueling your circulation or quietly starving it. And many of the habits you've carried for decades, even the ones that feel healthy, may now be working against you. Slowly, silently. But there's hope. And it's more powerful than you think. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through 5 specific fruits, easy to find, affordable, and science-backed, that have helped my patients restore circulation, boost intimacy, and reclaim a feeling of vitality they thought was long gone. No prescriptions, no gimmicks, just the right natural tools in the right hands. And stay with me until the end, because the 5th fruit, it's the most powerful of all, but also the most misunderstood. Most men ignore it, even though it could be the key to reawakening the body. And the bedroom. If you're still with me, type 1 in the comments to let me know you're ready to take your health seriously. If not, type 0. I'm always here to improve and bring you content that truly helps. Now let's begin with the first fruit, and the surprising way it unlocks blood flow where you need it most. I remember one patient in particular, Robert, 67, a retired firefighter. Tough on the outside, but quietly struggling with something he was too proud to admit. His body wasn't responding like it used to. His hands felt colder, his legs tired faster, and most nights with his wife ended with an awkward silence instead of closeness. He chalked it up to age, but the truth ran deeper. His circulation was slowing down, and so was his intimacy. That's when I introduced him to something deceptively simple: pomegranate. Not a miracle drug, not a supplement, just a fruit with a rich crimson hue, a fruit older men have overlooked for far too long. Here's what most people don't know. Pomegranate is one of nature's most powerful allies for your blood vessels. It's rich in natural nitrates and polyphenols that stimulate the production of nitric oxide, a key molecule that tells your blood vessels to relax and widen. Why does that matter? Because good blood flow is the foundation of everything: energy, memory, heart health, and yes, directions. When circulation improves, oxygen-rich blood can finally reach the areas that need it most. That includes not only your heart and brain, but also the delicate network of vessels responsible for arousal and performance. For older men like Robert, who were used to relying on willpower alone, this one change was a game changer. Within weeks of adding a small glass of pomegranate juice to his morning routine, he noticed a difference. His hands felt warmer, his thoughts sharper, and he shared something I'll never forget. He and his wife started holding hands again at night. That sense of closeness, it came back. Science backs this up too. Several studies show that regular consumption of pomegranate can significantly increase blood flow, reduce arterial plaque, and even support testosterone levels, all of which contribute to greater intimacy and stamina. It's not just about the act itself. It's about feeling like yourself again, alive, capable, and connected. So if you're over 60 and looking for a natural, powerful way to support your circulation and revive your intimacy, don't overlook the power of pomegranate. A few ounces a day can quietly begin rebuilding what time and stress have taken away. But as powerful as pomegranate is, it's only the beginning. There's one tiny fruit, often ignored in the frozen aisle, that holds a secret weapon against stiff arteries and fading desire. Let's talk about that next. Charles was 73 when he came into my office, a retired school principal, sharp-minded and articulate, but something about his tone told me he'd lost a piece of himself. He spoke softly about feeling disconnected from his wife, not emotionally but physically. He said it's like the lights are on, but the wiring isn't working. His doctors had given him pills, advice, even counseling, but no one had talked to him about blood flow or what he was eating. When I asked him about fruit, he shrugged. Occasionally an apple, maybe grapes, but no blueberries. And that's where we started. Blueberries, especially wild ones, are like tiny powerhouses for the aging circulatory system. They're packed with antioxidants called anthocyanins, the compounds that give them their deep blue color. These antioxidants do more than fight off cell damage. They directly affect your blood vessels, making them more flexible, more responsive. And that matters a lot after 60. You see, as we age, our blood vessels stiffen. That stiffness can restrict blood flow, increase blood pressure, and reduce the oxygen supply to the organs that need it most, including those responsible for intimacy and arousal. But anthocyanins help reverse that process. They ease inflammation, repair the lining of the arteries, and promote the smooth movement of blood from your heart to your brain, and yes, all the way down there. I told Charles to start with just half a cup of blueberries a day. Fresh or frozen, it didn't matter. What mattered was consistency. 2 weeks later, he called me, not to talk about numbers or blood pressure, but to tell me he'd started walking every morning again, and that he and his wife had danced in the living room for the first time in years. Nothing fancy, he said, but I felt present, awake. That's the real power of blueberries. They don't just improve circulation in theory, they help restore the feeling of being fully alive. When blood flows more freely, energy rises, confidence returns, and the gentle closeness that once felt lost quietly reappears. But don't stop there. There's another fruit, smooth, creamy, and often misunderstood, that holds the key to lowering blood pressure and naturally boosting male hormones. And it's probably sitting in your kitchen right now. Let's talk about that next. Henry, a 69-year-old retired carpenter, came to see me. He wasn't just concerned about his blood pressure. What really brought him in was the growing distance he felt from his wife. He said, "We sit next to each other, but I feel like I'm a mile away." It wasn't that the love was gone, it was that the spark had faded. He'd stopped feeling that warmth in his chest, that fire in his belly, and beneath it all was something very physical. Poor circulation, low energy, and hormonal decline. Henry had already cut out the junk food, watched his salt, and even tried walking more. But he still felt stuck. That's when I asked him one simple question: "Are you eating any healthy fats?" He paused and said, "I've been avoiding fat for years. Isn't that what clogs the arteries?" That's when I introduced him to the humble avocado. Most men don't realize this, but avocados are among the best foods you can eat to improve blood flow, not harm it. They're rich in monounsaturated fats, the kind that help lower bad cholesterol while supporting the integrity of your blood vessels. And just as importantly, they're packed with potassium, even more than bananas, which naturally relaxes blood vessel walls and reduces blood pressure. That combination is powerful, especially for men over 60 who want to protect their heart and restore their intimacy. But the benefits don't stop there. Avocados also contain vitamin B6 and folate, two nutrients that support healthy hormone production, including testosterone. As testosterone dips with age, so can libido, energy, and confidence. But by nourishing your body with the right building blocks, you give yourself a chance to bring those levels back into balance, gently, naturally, and without side effects. For Henry, it was as simple as adding half an avocado to his morning toast or slicing one into his salad. Within a few weeks, his numbers improved, but more importantly, so did his mood. He told me, "I feel steadier, stronger, like my body's working with me again, not against me." And best of all, he and his wife began reconnecting in ways they hadn't in years. Not just physically, but emotionally. That spark, it didn't just return, it grew. So if you've been afraid of fat, it may be time to rethink everything. And while avocados support your foundation, there's one fruit that acts more like nature's little blue pill, opening up your blood vessels, boosting arousal, and giving your body a surge of natural energy. Let's explore that next. Frank was 71 when he finally opened up, a Vietnam veteran, proud and private, who had built a life of discipline and resilience, but beneath that strength was a truth he was afraid to speak out loud. He no longer felt desire. He told me, "It's not that I don't love her, it's just my body doesn't respond anymore." He felt numb, tired, and ashamed, and when I checked his vitals, the answer was clear: poor blood flow, especially in the lower body. I asked him what he'd been eating, and when I mentioned watermelon, he chuckled. "Isn't that just a summer treat?" What most people don't know is that watermelon, especially the flesh closest to the rind, contains an amino acid called citrulline, a natural compound that helps relax and widen blood vessels. In fact, citrulline works by supporting nitric oxide production, similar to how certain medications for erectile function operate, but gently and without side effects. For men over 60, this is critical. As blood vessels stiffen with age, circulation to vital areas, including the pelvic region, begins to suffer. That means slower arousal, weaker performance, and a disconnect between the mind and body. But when you bring in nutrients that naturally enhance blood flow, everything starts to change. The spark returns, not because you forced it, but because your body is finally getting what it needs. Watermelon is also incredibly hydrating and rich in antioxidants like lycopene, which further protect blood vessel health. When your body is hydrated, your blood moves more freely. When your vessels are supported, intimacy stops feeling like a struggle and starts feeling natural again. Frank didn't need a prescription. He needed a wedge of watermelon every morning and a little guidance. Within a month, he told me, "Doc, it's like I've woken up, not just down there, but everywhere." His energy came back, his laughter came back, and slowly, so did his marriage. Watermelon isn't just a summertime snack, it's a vessel of restoration, a fruit that reminds your body how to function the way it was meant to, smoothly, boldly, without shame or hesitation. But as powerful as that pink flesh is, there's one more fruit left: humble. Often overlooked, but rich in minerals that protect your nerves, calm your heart, and support deep, meaningful connection. It's the final piece to this puzzle, and it might just be the easiest one to add to your day. Let's talk about it now. Of all the fruits we've talked about, this one might surprise you the most. It's not exotic, it's not expensive. In fact, it's probably sitting on your kitchen counter right now. But when I mentioned it in the introduction, that final fruit so many older men overlook, I was talking about the banana. Now, before you dismiss it as just a snack for kids or a quick bite before a walk, let me share a story. Gerald was 75 when I first met him. A retired pastor, gentle and thoughtful, but struggling silently with something that made him feel less like himself: irregular heartbeat, poor circulation, and a growing sense of distance from his wife of 40 years. He said, "I still love her, but I don't feel present anymore." His hands were colder. His nights were restless, and intimacy had become something they spoke about less and less. When I asked him about his diet, he admitted he'd cut back on carbs and sugar, including fruit, thinking it would help his weight and blood pressure. But what he didn't realize was that in doing so, he'd eliminated one of the best sources of heart-healthy minerals available to men his age. Bananas are rich in potassium, a mineral that helps regulate heartbeat, ease tension in blood vessel walls, and lower sodium levels in the bloodstream. That's essential for improving blood flow, especially to areas where aging men often feel the most decline. But potassium isn't the only thing bananas bring to the table. They also provide vitamin B6, which supports nerve function and helps regulate mood, two often overlooked pieces of the intimacy puzzle. When blood flows more freely and nerves send signals more smoothly, the body starts to come alive again. Not just in the bedroom, but in conversation, touch, and presence. Gerald started having a banana every evening as part of a small routine, not a diet, but a shift. And one day his wife came into the room and gently touched his shoulder. He told me, "Doc, I felt it. I really felt it. That small touch, it went straight to my heart." That's what banana can do. Not because it's fancy, but because it's foundational. It supports the heart, the vessels, the nerves, and the connection between them all. Now that you've seen how these 5 fruits can transform circulation and restore intimacy after 60, let's tie everything together and talk about how to make these changes last, so you don't just feel better today, but for years to come. In the end, it's not about the fruit, it's about what the fruit represents. A quiet return to the basics. A second chance. A reminder that healing doesn't always come from a pill bottle or a hospital room, but sometimes, from something as simple as what we choose to eat each day. Over the past few minutes, we've walked through 5 fruits: pomegranate, blueberries, avocado, watermelon, and bananas. Each one carries more than nutrients. Each one carries possibility. Together, they support blood flow, awaken nerve function, balance hormones, and restore that subtle but powerful current that connects your body to your spirit and your heart to someone else's. I've spent over 3 decades sitting with men who believed their best days were behind them. Men who felt embarrassed by their bodies, disconnected from their wives, or just tired of feeling tired. I've watched their posture shift as they realized that the problem wasn't them. It was the way no one ever taught them how to care for themselves after 60. And I've seen their lives change, slowly but surely, not with dramatic surgery or expensive therapy, but with quiet, consistent nourishment. The truth is, your body still remembers. It still wants to heal. The blood still wants to flow. The desire to feel alive, to love, to be touched, to wake up with purpose, none of that has left you. It's just been waiting for a signal. And maybe today that signal is something as ordinary as a banana, or a handful of blueberries, or the juice of a pomegranate on your tongue. You deserve to feel good in your skin. You deserve to share a quiet moment of closeness without worry or shame. And most of all, you deserve to know that aging doesn't mean fading. It means refining. Honoring the body that has carried you through so much. Feeding it with intention, listening to what it's been quietly asking for all along. If this message resonated with you even a little, I hope you'll begin today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today, pick one fruit, one small step. Let your body remember what it feels like to be cared for again. And if you'd like more guidance like this, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned, because there's so much more we can do together. This is just the beginning.